I'm green. Hi. Wait, you're on mute.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my God. So I'm feel really bad that I haven't returned your calls or text or emails anyway, but every time because I see it and then I try to think about it and then but anyway, I haven't been
It's
able to.
okay.
I know. So how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. How was,
You too. It looks like y'all had a really good trip this last one.
yeah, well, we had two, one right after the other. We had Bhutan and then Belize.
I
But
know. Belize looked so fun for me. And
yeah,
Bhutan. I mean, both of them, but I couldn't do it.
so
Well, Amy, hello.
wait,
You're,
you're on mute. My setting puts everyone on mute when they enter.
All right, let me redo that. Hi, everybody.
Okay.
hi. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How are you,
Yeah.
Shelly?
I'm good. I'm good. It's just trying to it's supposed to get really bad here tonight. They said it was supposed to snow, which we're not used
Wow.
to, but anyway, so it's kind of like the schools have already said they're closed.
Yeah,
So
that's what happened when I lived in DC. The thought of it and they close everything off.
exactly.
So
We don't even have one flurry yet in there. I know. Kind of crazy.
Uh,
I know.
so Debbie and Rona and Susan and Brad, you come on just the way my settings are. Everyone gets muted at the beginning, so you have to unmute. Um, uh, okay. Hi, Rona.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
And where do you live? I forgot. What coast are you on? Or
Your
time?
coast.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Awesome. So, are you in Chicago?
I'm in Evanston.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Live in
Very nice.
Evanston.
Yeah, that's right. You went to Northwestern? I
The
forgot.
business
Yes.
school, yeah.
Business school. Cool. Hi, Debbie.
Hi there. I finally found the unmute button and
There
learned
you
how
go.
to,
You figured it out.
and learned how to use Zoom today. Yeah. Oh, jeez. I did not go to Northwestern.
So you don't know how to Zoom. You have to go to Northwestern to learn how to Zoom.
No. Oh gosh, I'm a disaster, but tried.
Have you guys seen all the new features Zoom has in regards to like the AI chat box?
No.
Like I had a call with some friends to plan a girls trip and Zoom prepared an entire like summary of all the notes, and it was the funniest thing. There's this little AI companion, and you if you come in late, you could ask it to catch you up, and it like recaps everything. Everybody is it's
Oh,
crazy.
no way.
So
Wait, you guys,
it's
I just want to say I really am not green. Do I look green to you?
You
I'm
do,
green.
yeah,
So
you
that
look very green.
shifted to the
I
light.
thought you just really like Wicked.
I do really like Wicked, but
yeah, we could change our colors.
yeah, I don't know. I have to figure out the lighting in here. I don't know why it's
Lighting in
doing that.
the Serengeti is difficult, yeah.
I know. You
So
do look,
yeah, I know. I'm trying to move my lighting a little bit and see if that helps.
it's okay. We know you're not.
I'm not green.
It's not easy being green, but
You being green, yeah.
Um, so there were a bunch of people who said they were coming on, but I want to be considerate of your guys' time who are on here. So I'm gonna kind of start, but I'll start slowly. Oh, there's Wendy. Wendy was just on my Bhutan trip. So
Good. So what did you
and
think of the Bhutan?
So it was, sorry, I'm trying to fix my setup here. There we go. It was really interesting. My mom said to me, "How did you like your vacation to Bhutan?" And I said, "It wasn't like a party in Hawaii or a trip to Vienna. I call it more like study abroad. It was very much like study abroad, right, Robin?"
yeah, we did some very yeah. I mean it's not like a relaxing hangout at at
No,
a retreat type thing, but
Hang out in
no.
a monastery, type
right.
Yeah,
vacation.
yeah.
But so just so Rona, so I have not met Rona, but I'm glad to. Debbie was a very early stepping outer, but she most recently was on our Zion trip, and we had tons of fun together. And she's a photographer, and she gave me lots of tips. And I used
yeah.
in Belize, I used that one that we learned with, going up. I did, yeah. So,
That was such a great, the guy taught us on, yeah. That's amazing.
and I don't know, Susan, are you on? I don't know if you're just have your camera on. And Brad, are you on? Hmm, I don't know. But so Amy and Shelley were both on not the last Africa trip, but the one before that. I have to say that the last Africa trip had a number of people from California, in the LA area who were monitoring. Actually, I'm sure that by now, I mean, I know Lisa had to evacuate.
Wow.
And
My girlfriend's house just burned down.
Yeah,
Ugh.
so one of our participants, Amy Catch. Do you remember Amy Catch, Amy Peller?
I
She was
do.
her,
I mean, I know.
her
I'm
house.
trying to just form the image. I remember her name, but I can't.
Yeah, her house just burned down too.
Oh God.
Do we know about Marilyn? Have we heard from Marilyn?
No, Marilyn is one I'm worried about because when I talked to her yesterday, she said she was keeping an eye, but when I heard the news this morning, they said that Brentwood was evacuating. So
Oh,
that's where she
no.
is. John is right in the middle of Santa Monica too. So we have a few California people who are dealing with stuff, and I
Mm.
said, don't worry.
Okay.
We'll, you know,
Oh
we'll
my
get whoever we can on to help answer questions other than me, but I will kind of go through and talk a little bit. But
Mhm.
I guess I would love to. Well, now Wendy, you've been to Tanzania, right?
Yes.
So you're more just interested in Rwanda.
And I don't think I'll be able to do it this year because it looks like my high school reunion is going to be the same time.
Oh, well, that's a bummer.
So far, waiting to see. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I actually had a few other people just interested in Rwanda, and so I was going to add some choices if people just wanted to do Rwanda to add that on. But I guess since I know Debbie already signed up for this year, which I'm very excited about. Um, so I guess what I would like to do, and I don't know, is actually ask Rona just to tell us what you kind of were curious, like what attracted you to the trip and what you're curious about. And then I'll start um, kind of giving more of my regular presentation.
Okay. Me?
Yeah.
Hi. Well, I'll tell you what, I had your name from like maybe last year, and I just got back from South Africa, and I was thinking where my next trip was going to be. So I went back on your website and I saw that you had this trip planned and piqued my interest because I loved South Africa and your itinerary looks great. And the trekking with the gorillas has been something that I've been wanting to do.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to say, love South Africa also. Completely different trips. I'm sure, so just so you know that they're just so different. I mean, um, even even when you get to like the animals in the Serengeti, were you at Kruger and
Yes. Mhm.
yeah. So, I kind of I was blown away. You're doing it the right way, is going to South Africa first and then to East Africa because it grows. Everything that you see in South Africa has more beauty in a lot of ways, and probably in all ways. I mean, it really is beautiful, like Cape Town and the garden route and the wineries. You don't have that as much in East Africa, but in terms of the animals, the wildlife, it's 100 times more. And you also have a lot more of the authentic, I guess, like local, the people you feel more, like you really have a sense of Africa around you. Um, I'm, we got one more, yay. We got a mail, yay. I I'm gonna let Shelley kind of introduce herself and then also, kind of, not too long, but a little bit about your experience and what kind of some of the questions that you had before you went and what you thought of the trip.
Well, honestly, the trip is probably in my top 3 trips that I've ever been on, and I've been to a lot of places. And I am just, I've traveled with a lot of different groups as well. And I think Robin is one of the best that plans the trip. And I mean, she literally does a hands-on trip, and it's a lot different than going with a group of 30 where you can't take 30 people on this trip. But she just has everything so planned out. I've probably done maybe 7 of your trips before, and just very organized and well thought out. So you get to see a little bit of everything there is to see in each place. So it literally was one of my top 3, and maybe even my top on the list. And to see those gorillas to me was life changing. And just to be, with Francois, which is the best, and just he was Diane Porter's Porter.
Diane Fosse's
Yeah,
porter.
Porter. And so I mean, we were lucky enough to have him come to be our tour guide, and he started the whole, volcano, the trekking with the gorillas to make it more controlled. And just to hear the stories that came from him about when we went to his family of gorillas, and he knows, so they know his voice the second we're walking up. It's like a show that you thought they were just putting a production on just for us. And I never felt harmed or anything. It's the safest thing to do. And then just and even seeing the golden monkeys, I think, are very great. And I liked how Robin was like, we're going to do this first, and then you add on maybe even double that time, because it was a long trek just to see the monkeys, but at least you get to a flavor of how long the gorillas are to go see them. And it's not easy. It is you're trekking through the jungle, and you're climbing on a volcano, and you're going straight up on the volcano. And but it is so worth it, that 1 hour that you
Yeah. Yeah, 1 hour, and you feel, I
one
mean,
hour, that's it.
Hours
And
together.
it is so worth that 1 hour. And just, watching the family, the gorillas playing with each other, and seeing, literally, we saw a little baby that was born, and which I always wanted to go back. And I heard this last trip, I think you went to the gorilla naming,
yeah.
which I would love to do, to hear how they pick names, and go to this ceremony, and you'll, go past that. But it is truly a life-changing. And then we got to even go to Mama Anna, which I loved, and go see how these women work in the jungle, and coffee beans and milk, and, making cheese. And it's so hands-on that it's just the whole thing. And then we went to the village, where they literally put on a whole show for us, just us, and the entire village came out, and it was, with Mark playing with the drums and dancing, and just seeing how happy everyone is. And and
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second, because I want to clarify something when you said the trek was hard, because I did have some people ask me, and this is for the gorillas. I did have some people ask me like how hard it is. And the group that Shelley was in, they didn't care, they said, we'll go on any hike, or whatever. But they do ask if you want a lesser hike, a moderate hike, or whatever, and then we make the decision. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a very. I know that the one that Shelley and Amy were on was that was a hard hike. The one that we were on last year to see the gorillas actually was supposed to be hard, but the gorillas didn't know that. And they came down to the bottom and they met us at the bottom. We barely trekked more than like 20 minutes. So,
Great.
so it's a little unpredictable, but that's the fun
But
part.
also just to add, like we also had like hired like these porters who like I mean they really assist you and they literally
Right.
hold your hand every step of the way, and you know it makes a hard hike manageable and safe.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's cheap. The porters were cheap. I think you tip them like $20.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, okay, and I even went on this trip and I was not going to miss the gorilla trek, but I dislocated my shoulder. And so it was the second time I dislocated the same shoulder. And the first time it was when I was in South Africa. So something with Africa, I just have to watch my limbs, my arms. But yeah, so I'm in a sling because I told my doctor, I said, I've already been through this before. I am not missing, it was 2 days before this trip, and I am not missing these gorillas. This is, I'll die with the gorillas. That's kind of, so I even called Robin the night before and I said, okay, how do you feel in the event I have to have someone locate my shoulder back? And so I said, but we can figure it out from YouTube. And then I found Maryland was, there were a couple doctors that were on the group. So I would have been like just putting, bourbon and what you see in the wild, wild west, out in the jungle. But I was prepared to do that. So and you could get porters, like Amy said, where I had one on each side. I think the hardest thing for me was climbing just over the that wall, the ladder, and then you just have one on each side, and our past poachers. Um, they've been put there, because they used to go poach the gorillas, and that's what.
Right, and that is one of the reasons why it's so expensive to see the gorillas, is because they're trying to pay the people who used to kill the gorillas. They're trying to give them a job to be the rangers, but not only so they are paying them for their livelihood to entice them, don't kill the gorillas, help us instead. And the other thing that they do is that, a lot of farmers and villagers have their crops right in the mountains or at the bottom of the mountain. So if the gorillas eat the crops or something like that, then they pay back. They say, don't kill the gorilla, let them eat it, let the monkeys eat it, but we'll pay you for your farm. So there's all these reasons that go behind that in Rwanda. I'm going to kind of, move a little bit into like the itinerary, but I see Wendy, you have your hand raised.
Yes. As you know, I am not a trekker. So what is a hard trek? Because I was one of the people who asked you, what is a hard trek?
It was long. I don't think. I mean, at the
but it's long. I mean,
how long is long? Long is different to everyone.
You remember how long we were?
A couple hours, Robin.
Yeah, theirs was, I mean, like I said, I mean, this is where, we would ask for a family of gorillas that we were going to see, and, and they say, do you want a long hike? Do you want a hard hike? Whatever. That group really was gone, I think, 4 or 5 hours. And like I said, the first group, I mean, the one that I had last year was gone like 20 minutes.
They send trackers out in advance of us, so
Right.
it's not like you're just wandering blind. Like there are people that are going out ahead to find the gorillas that day.
Right. So what they do is these people who are paid stay overnight, watch where the gorillas go, and then they come back and report in and say, this family of gorillas with the babies and whatever's over here, this family's over here. Then when we all come in, they ask, they know they say, do you want the hard hike? Okay, that family is all the way up in the mountains. We had asked for a medium hike, and the gorillas were supposed to be up, in the middle of the mountain. But by the time we got there, they had decided that they wanted to come down. So they met us down below. So you can't really say for sure, but like as Amy and Shelley said, that there are people who hold your thing. I know that Wendy, in terms of hiking for a really long time, that wouldn't work, but we would just make sure that if not all of us, depending on what it is, got with a family that was close by. And they are pretty, good about being able to tell that. I'm going to
Okay.
stop for a second, and because now, since we started talking, Josh, Arthur, and Amy came on, so I want to say hi. And what we're doing right now is kind of, I was telling everyone that Shelley and Amy were on the trip right before COVID. Arthur was on the one last year. And Debbie is signed up for this year, and everyone else is kind of curious. So I started by asking Rona what, kind of what she, a little bit of what got her interested in possibly this trip. So I'm going to ask Josh the same question. What kind of, what did you want to hear from us, or what do you expect, want to, hear, or what kind of intrigues you about Africa? And you're on mute because of my settings. There you go. All right.
Oh, we're talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know. It just sounds interesting, like an adventure. I like things that are sort of a little different, a little off the beaten track, not just a regular tourist thing. I like walking and nature, and I think gorillas would like me. Animals tend to like me, so maybe I'll just go live with them. Actually, now I'm remembering 20 years ago or something on the internet, some like wildlife reserve, maybe in South Africa or something, messaged me and said I should come for a month and I could be like their web person and sort of live stream from the jungle. And I never did it. I thought, well, I don't want to lose time off of work or whatever. Should have done that. I just remembered that right now. So
Yeah, that would have been cool 20 years ago. That was when everything was just starting.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we can answer, we can definitely tell you that this trip is an adventure of sorts. I mean, like Shelley said, everything is very planned out, but it is in a way to make things spontaneous. It's not planned that you're gonna, do this, and this, and then move on. It's a bigger picture because we know that things happen and interactions happen with people and animals. And the trip that Arthur was on last year, and this trip is planned for the same time frame. We really had, I think, a National Geographic moment of when with the wildebeest migration. We caught, I don't know, Arthur, how many I don't even know. Was it thousands? What'd you
Oh
say?
yeah, it was each time they crossed the river, it was in the hundreds.
Yeah, so I mean, like hundreds of wildebeest and zebras crossing and trying to get across while the crocodiles, were eating. And it was, at one point, there was a little baby that we saw get taken, and I was like very unhappy. But even it's still nature, and you're just in awe of nature. I am. I missed Amy Sharfman. Are you there, Amy? I don't know. When your picture's not there, I don't know if you're there or not. So, all right, I'm gonna just move on then.
Also, you know what else, Robin?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I-
I'm sorry, I heard you, but the thing was off. But
Okay,
I know is the camera off too? I think, yeah, it is.
it's off
Okay.
too.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just sitting in my car in the dark, so you wouldn't be able to see me anyway. Um, 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 I just,
There's
no, I was curious about this trip, but I feel like I might be too afraid, but it's still interesting to listen to.
oh,
I might be
okay.
afraid of the animal.
What part would you be afraid of?
Well, I came on the call a little late, so, well,
Okay,
because the animals are in the wild, right? So I
the
just,
animals are in the wild, but they are one of the things, and the reason why I work with the company that I work with is that we do have amazing guides. I mean, to be honest, I think they're all pretty amazing, but what I loved about our guides in the wild, where they seem to know before any of the other guides where things were gonna, like what animal was coming up where. I mean, we were in the middle. Do you guys remember the kill that we saw, Amy and Shelley? We were
Yeah.
in the middle of like nothing, and all of a sudden our driver's like says, "Watch that," and he starts speeding up. I mean, like nobody else, no one else saw anything except he did with his trained eye, was able to see, that there was something that told him that something was going to happen. He drove right up to it, and we, just got in front of was it more than it was a lioness, but were there more than one? I don't remember. But the lioness did the kill with the wildebeest, which would also we were our van or whatever was right in front of it, and we saw this and we were able to watch and also learn. I mean, what was so interesting, and I'm kind of giving little bits away, but what was so interesting was that the females and the children, after they do the kill, but then they walk away and do not eat until the man comes, until the male lion comes. After he comes, yes, after he comes and eats, then he walks away, and then the rest come. And these are just things that you don't even think about, but just are so interesting. But part of Amy, that it is, while you are in the wild, you are, I mean, I never felt unsafe. And I think that everyone else, when you're in your little truck, the animals, all they see is a big object that looks scary to them, and they also know this object. And so they don't go like attacking or anything in there. I mean, certain things have, can happen and whatever, the same as, someone can, God forbid, be in a car accident, but it's not something that is, that isn't, there are precautions taken when you're out there. I mean, the guides do have rifles with them if they need to use them, and they also, tell you if you're, doing something, outside the van, if you start to move a little bit or something, and they think it's going to, you know, aggravate or whatever an animal, that, they'll tell you and they'll get you, quiet. So, but there's so much more than the animals, to the trip, because it is, sorry if you're hearing the buzzing that's going through my computer. If you, I mean, there's the people that we meet and the things that we do. I mean, Shelley talked about Mama Anna, who, was this woman who was given a cow, from this organization, and turned this one cow into, a co-op, a cheese factory that actually serves, they were actually building a school for, children with the money that was coming from this cheese factory. And we go to, the Bushmen and we, learn from them and like we taught, at one point we taught, I mean, I think with Amy and Shelley's group with the Maasai, we taught them Hava Nagila and we were dancing the horo with them. And, when they were teaching us their dances, when we were in, with the Bushmen, all the little kids, we played, Duck Duck Goose with them. I mean, and taught them and had like shared interaction, which is something that I really work hard at, like kind of providing those opportunities. I do have, it's not 100% done, but I had a few people from the last trip do they said a few things about the trip, and I'm going to share that right now. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it, and then we'll go through the itinerary. So let's see. Do you see? Let's.
Hmm. Oh, wow.
There's my tree.
Little cub.
Probably the same one. I'll have fun. So fun. That is the same guy. Bush.
Wow. Silverback. Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that would have been cool.
All right. Well, so I will stop sharing there. Oops. Stop it. All right. Sorry. So I can do two things. I can go through the itinerary a little, but I think maybe if any of you guys like Debbie or Josh or Rona or Susan or Amy have questions that maybe us who have been on the trip can maybe answer them. So I'm going to start with that. So,
Mm.
Debbie?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say another thing that we didn't even talk about was the hot air balloon,
Oh yeah,
which was
that
amazing,
Ooh.
totally amazing. You're over the whole world. It's just amazing.
Wow.
Debbie.
I know I was kind of wrapping my head around flights, but I think that's premature for right now. If I don't know if that's for later.
No, I mean we can talk. Yeah, we can definitely talk about that. The arrival day is the 21st, and it's pretty much so. What I did this year is I changed things a little bit because I had our first day being our kind of action day where we actually started doing things. So I just added kind of an extra day into the itinerary where it's just kind of get there day. Not much, really happening. I think I do include dinner that night, but and then the next day is actually starting. So I can't even. Oh my God, I don't. Let me just look. What day is the 21st? What day of the week is it?
Oh my. Hang on. Oh, got a calendar. Let's see.
What are you talking about?
August 21. Ugh.
All right, August 21 is a
Thursday.
okay. So depending on you probably would leave, it depends on, your different flights. So there are flights that you could leave on the 20th. and get there. I know the cheaper flights, which will have longer layovers and stuff, but I think then you would leave on the 19th. But if you left on the 20th, I'm trying to think of why I'm drawing a blank. I think I can't remember where I went through. Do you guys remember what airport where you went through?
In Kigali. Was it
No.
Kigali?
Oh, wait, you guys started in Kigali, that your trip. I can't
Yeah.
remember where. Oh, Arthur, you were supposed to be on my flight. Where did we?
Yeah, we're going to Addis Ababa.
Oh, we did. We went through Ethiopia. Okay, I don't even remember. So yeah, so we went through Ethiopia, then to and then to Tanzania. So but I can help you with that. Um, in terms of, like which ones. But if you have some flights, um I can I can try and put some, like some ideas, together. But um a lot of, I think, is it KLM or whichever one that goes through Amsterdam and then goes to um Arusha, which is which might be, which has always been a good flight. I will say right now, Debbie is in Skokie. Rona, if you decide to join us, she's in Evanston. So, um, you guys, and then I'm coming from hopefully Evanston also. Um, and so we can maybe figure out something for us. But
Can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Mhm.
I just haven't, I'm trying to get a sense. What size group do you usually take for this trip?
Anywhere between 6 and 10.
Oh, small. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intimate.
It's I think Kelly and Amy, your group was a little larger.
Maybe
Yeah.
slightly. Maybe if I don't remember the exact number, maybe 12.
Yeah, maybe there were
Not
12 of us.
much, I think.
Didn't we
Yeah.
have two, I think?
Yeah, we had two trucks. I found that keeping them small allows for a little more spontaneity of things. One of the things that I don't, you know, I know it is a group trip, but I don't want you to feel, I want you to feel, and hopefully everyone does and will feel like you've just been traveling with a bunch of friends, and not that, while everything is planned and you get, an amazing experience, I do like to be able to, if we see something or, like I'm sorry, Shelley, I'm just laughing, but I remember we were driving and I don't remember who wanted to taste sugar cane. And we stopped just, and our driver, like asked a kid to bring us over sugar cane, but we didn't know how to eat it. There's a whole like special way of, kind of chewing it. And I'm sorry, Shelley, I'm not going to laugh at you because it was all of us, but I have a picture of Shelley with the pieces of the sugar cane like coming out of her mouth because we, don't know like how to peel it or whatever. And they had to show us, and it was all, but, it was something we were able to do as we were driving and whatever because of, it being a small group and we weren't waiting for 100 people and whatever. So,
Yeah.
any other question?
Um, just even silly question. I know you were talking about tipping the porters. Roughly, like how many, just budgeting in my head, just make sure, did you convert currency before getting to Africa? Did you do it there? And then how much cash so that we could tip people properly and just
Right.
I start
I do have, and in fact, I'm working on it right now to send you. I have, now is my time of getting everyone confirmed and whatever, but I can send I can send it now or as soon as I'm done for those who are who have confirmed, but I have a whole packet of information. It's actually 37 pages and and it talks about all that, money to bring and whatever. So, and before we do leave, we have another, at this point, now it's the questions of, what it's like. Is this a trip for me? What will I see? Is that type of thing. But once everyone is confirmed, we will have
Specifics.
yeah, go through this little, it's not little, my 37-page packet. And it will tell you like everything. And then we also like discuss where we'll meet when the flight lands and blah blah blah. So
Robin,
yeah.
isn't it more like, I think they were happy with American dollars too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
it's more money to them. I mean, I think the currency exchange rate or something, I don't really.
right. If you were in a small, anyone who works with tourists, often will be happy with American dollars. In a smaller place or a guide that's just helping us in a rural village or something, they would, prefer their currency because then they don't have to go convert it. But anyone who does deal with tourists, will be fine and happy with dollars. I'm going to ask Amy Peller, is there anything that you could about the trip that I particularly am trying to think, like questions that you might have had before the trip that, or something that you were that before and then after your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been on I've traveled with Robin a number of times and like Shelley and probably like everybody in this group have done a good amount of travel. I think going into this trip, I think I was very focused on the gorillas and the animals, and those things are magical and magnificent, and you feel like you've stepped into National Geographic. But I think what I didn't probably appreciate as much and what was, equally magical was the culture and the people that we met and the history, particularly in Rwanda in relation to the genocide and particularly in this time in the world where there's just so many challenges and you think like God, like how can we ever get past that? In Rwanda, you're in a country where they've actually made real progress in getting past something in their own country that is, as horrific as anything else you could imagine. And so learning about, I mean, we spent what, Robin, a half a day in the Genocide Museum. And you could have probably spent 5 days, 5 days. It's just it really is a phenomenal experience. And I think some of those aspects for me, just surprised me in terms of how robust and how rich they were, and really life changing. I mean, I would say that those, what was it, 12 days, 14 days, whatever, it actually felt like a lot longer because it's so rich in everything you're experiencing. And for me, it really was one of the highlights of my life. And I used to say going to Africa was, like a kind of saw it as like this, like, one-time experience. And, I have to, I feel like I do need to go back. And, the other thing, that was equally, magical. And this is a lot of credit, to Robin for creating this type of environment, but the closeness that our group had and the feeling of community within our group and friendship with people either I knew or that I didn't know, because I probably knew a couple of people from prior trips, but I went myself, and kind of the feeling of this shared experience and new friendships, and further developing friendships, that's really a magical thing too. And I just, there are moments on this trip where I've laughed some of the hardest that I've laughed ever in my life. And, Brad and Shelley and Robin, you could probably think of what some of those, examples are. And I still think about them. What's that, Shelley?
Corn. I said, I'm thinking about the corn on the
Yeah, I know
top.
the corn, right? But I still think about those things, and they make me smile. And it's one of the reasons I'm so happy to be on a call like this. It's just to have, an hour to just again reconnect with those feelings and experiences. Yeah, look, I think with a trip like this, with any trip, but particularly a trip like this, you also reflect on, your own culture by kind of seeing another. And that is, that was really, interesting and exciting also. Um, if you're thinking about it, I would implore you to go. I mean, it really is an amazing experience. Robin is incredible at organized spontaneity. And kind of like making it seem like, it's like it's not lucky that we have all these amazing experiences. It's Robin like, working her butt off. Making it all happen. And some of it's planned and some of it is through the amazing connections she has or the ideas that she has, even just spur of the moment. But yeah, I would say go. I mean, and in terms of, I think it was Amy, you had said this may be, a bit out of the comfort zone. Look, I think there are parts of probably every trip, Robin, that I've done with you that kind of go beyond my own comfort zone. But fundamentally, it does to me feel like a very safe experience. Are there parts where, like, yeah, you kind of amidst the elephants and you're like, gosh, is this okay? Um, but like fundamentally, I felt like we were in very, very good hands. And if you're at all thinking about it, yeah, I'd just say go. It really is a highlight of my life.
Wow. Okay, I don't need to say anything. I'm thinking. I was going, and I will ask Arthur to do something similar, but just really, what I guess, like as Amy started, like something that she had like concerns about before or had something before she left, and then, it's something, that kind of, that happened on the trip or something like that, what you expected and did it, how it met your expectations or didn't.
Okay. First off, when you're out in the trucks in the parks, felt perfectly safe, even though there are wild animals out there. They all tend to ignore the trucks, so don't worry about that. Um, uh, I'll talk the Mirror River crossing, which we talked about before. I'd looked up before going to Africa what are the top things to see in Africa, and that was in different lists. That was often near the top, if not the top. So that the time of year that you'd be going is wonderful for that. In the and just yeah, the animal. I mean, National Geographic. It was amazing. I was the camera person on the trip. I took over 2,000 photos, and most of them are excellent. They're just
You can't have a bad picture.
yeah, if you invest in a camera, get a camera with a long lens, you won't regret it on this trip. I mean this is really what a long lens is for this type of trip. There was not a lot of trekking. Certainly in the parks, you're not going to be trekking with the lions around. So don't worry about trekking if that's something you're afraid of. If you want to go trekking, you might have to set up a separate trip to Kilimanjaro. And then seeing the villages. So some of those villages were fantastic experiences. Learned a lot about the Maori, and I don't remember the name of the other one where they hunted, and that was incredible, amazing, and unique. You're not going to find that on the internet. Any of those other villages were based tourist traps, but the ones that weren't, or I mean, they were fantastic. The people were friendly. The food was great. I'm vegan. I was concerned about that, but the chefs there really could make food. Yeah, that and the accommodations were very luxurious. I mean, if I if I plan a trip, um, I would not be in such a nice place, but it was great for our group.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And Brad, same question.
Sure. Well, first of all, hello everybody. Some of you I know, and some of you I haven't met in person yet. But nice to see all these great faces. It's hard to add to what's already been said, all of which it just resonates with my experience. I had never been to Africa before. I didn't really know what to expect. Uh, the I had a mild interest in going to safari, and having now been on this trip, I tell everyone, if you're able to go on a safari at some point in your life, you should definitely do it. It is an amazing experience to see these animals in their natural habitat. You're out there with them. It's like the world's largest zoo or whatever. But I mean, it is really astounding. And like others have said here on the call, the cultural um, kind of the cultural experiences, interacting with folks in Tanzania and Rwanda. It just, oh man, it really is life changing for sure. You definitely see the world differently when you leave. I never felt unsafe, although that doesn't mean that there's not a little bit of anxiety when you're near a lion or, kind of in the midst of a bunch of elephants, but you're really never unsafe. The hot air balloon ride, I'm telling you, that's really we took a hot air balloon ride over the Serengeti at sunrise. Amy was up there too, and Shelly, I think you were there, right? And that was just an incredible. You see the zebras and the lions down below you. You're hoping the balloon doesn't run out of gas at the wrong time. But it really is. I mean, they're just one thing after another. Every day you'd say to yourself, well, it can't get better than this. And then the next day would be even more amazing. That's kind of how the trip felt to me.
Mm-hmm.
And even going to the school. I mean, we went to the school to plant the trees for the kids.
All right, in Rwanda, right. We did like a little community service and stuff. We do have a community service in Rwanda in this itinerary also. Regarding the Rwanda gorilla naming, I've been hesitant to like confirm that because they are not 100% sure. They told me the date, which was supposed to be September 4th or 3rd, whatever, and our dates were over that, and then now they're not sure. Last year they changed everything. What I do know is that we will be in Rwanda over the time that they're having a music festival and at Red Rocks. And so that is something that we are going to participate in. And hopefully if they are doing the gorilla baby naming, we will be able to do that. It was one of the reasons that it was so important is that because of all the poachers who were killing the gorillas and turning them into rangers and porters to help has proven really successful. And every year they have had many new babies. In fact, they are expanding the park where they're letting the gorillas go because more and more babies and more gorillas are living and surviving and they're populating. So it's actually a really, I don't know, you pay $1,500 for 1 hour to be with them. And I haven't had one person say it wasn't worth it. And in fact, on my last trip, two people wanted to go again. They couldn't do it because of timing, but it's an amazing experience that and it doesn't feel like it's just 1 hour or whatever. It's just the whole thing about it. And then afterwards, and on this trip, we're going to the village where the porters live. Most of them, who used to be poachers and now are porters. And so we're gonna go and have, kind of one-on-one time with them and be able to talk with them as well. The trip is, there's a few, it's not as active as a lot of, like Wendy was just on Bhutan with me. It's not like a hiking, every day type thing. Either is Bhutan, but it is more. Like as Arthur said, we're not going to be trekking in, where the animals are. We don't walk around there, but we do, I think because of me, like just sitting in a van is not something I can do for too long. So I always, kind of put in activities like when we, met the Bushmen, we went hunting with them and that meant, walking and doing something. When we were in the crater area, we walked the rim of the crater so that we can, get out and learn about, plants and the things that are going around there. Right now, it's a little, well, it's going to be interesting because the government, the Maasai live in the area where the Ngorongoro crater is, and the government wants to kick them out, and so that I'm not really, Arthur, you sent me the article, but it's going to be interesting because the Maasai have control of the area, and I think that they don't want the tribe to. They want to have that control. So I'm curious what that is, and I may want to do something, some type of service kind of type project with that. We do go biking. The biking that we did in the last group, it was amazing. We actually were biking and zebras, and we just were passing all these animals as we're just biking along, and kids would come out and want to talk to us and play with us and stuff like that. So we have different activities. If you're like me and you thought, I can't sit in a safari jeep for long, for too many days or whatever. We don't just sit, we do, we always have time, even when we're, you know, on safari, we do a walking safari one day and stuff like that. But, I
You're
mean,
not in you're not in this Jeep that long during
right.
your, like you start maybe first thing in the morning and then you go to lunch and then we do other activities in the afternoon. But so it's
Yes.
only a half a day, really.
Yeah, and you also when you're there, I mean, everything is so fascinating. I mean, I never thought that I'd be interested in, sitting and watching for so long, and you are. And I think, Rona just came back from South Africa. She kind of knows what I'm talking about. You just kind of you just get, pulled in that it doesn't seem, I thought I would be, I wouldn't be able to watch a kill. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to watch that. But when it's happening because of nature and not because of people and because of bad situations, when it's just a survival for the animal, it's not, it's something that it just brings you back to nature. And there's so many things, as Amy said, that you just like take with you and you learn. And aside from being like fun and fascinating, it is also like a really great learning experience.
Yeah.
So,
Robin, I have to go. It was good
okay.
to see everyone.
Thank you so much. Yes,
I
it was good
know.
to see you. And
Okay.
hopefully we'll see you too soon.
Yes, I mean, I have thought about going again, but it's just, anyway. All right, have a good
All
night,
right.
everyone.
Robin,
All right.
I'm also gonna sign off, but
Okay.
thanks for letting me rethink about Africa for an hour. And yeah, If anybody has questions, feel free to reach out. Robin, feel free to share my info. I'd be happy to talk with anybody.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Does any of you have any other questions that I can answer, or we good? Do you want me to, I do have, I mean, I think like the packet that I was talking about talks about shots and money and all that. And if if that will, I mean, I am going to send it to everyone who signs up, but if it will also help some of you in terms of like making decisions or whatever, I can send it to you as well. But I will say that the woman who I am working with, because it is the time of the wildebeest migration, particularly in Tanzania, the hotels, the places that we stay in, yeah, there's one that's fairly large, but most of them are these small tent, that have, 6, 8 tents or whatever, maybe a few more. And they're starting to fill up. And if you want the ones right, closest to, so that you have less of a drive when you're going through the Serengeti, then we have to sign up. So I have a few on hold, but she is telling me that I'm going to have to let go of the ones that I have on hold soon if I don't have them occupied. So if you are thinking about it and want to talk to me in, more detail, let's set up a call and we can, answer some questions and see if this is, the right time. I'm not going to say if it's the right trip for you because it's an amazing trip. So, but I'll say if it's the right time for you, or whatever. So, but
Are you sleeping in tents at some of these places?
they're not, they're permanent tents.
They're glamping.
It's more than glamping. I mean, I mean, some of them are just gorgeous. I mean, they have indoor bathrooms and indoor plumbing and, and showers and everything like that. Big beds and furniture and whatever. I mean, the one that I was in last time had, well, Arthur, the one before, right, the second to last night, we stayed at one. I mean, I had like a living room before the bedroom in the tent, it was crazy. So, but they are, I mean, it's not glamping because I guess it is glamping, but it's extreme glamping. And those are what we stay in the Serengeti. And they're gorgeous. But most of the time, they are, smaller hotels. But that was a good question. I forgot to bring that up.
I just wanted to make sure nothing would be crawling in my room at night. In my tent.
Well, I can't say that. No, I don't think there was anything. Except, well, I the first time that I went, I attracted a bunch of hyenas. And because I have a hyena laugh, so people have told me. And I was laughing, and they had told us when you're in the Serengeti and you're in these tents, they had told us not to leave unless you call. So, they give you a walkie-talkie to call someone if you want to leave your tent for whatever reason at night. But, and they have people watching for the animals the whole time. But but apparently I was laughing. All of a sudden around my tent I hear like howling of all sorts and all kinds of things, and I have no idea what's going on, but I'm like really nervous. My roommate and I are sitting in the middle of the floor. We're like, something is all around our tent. What's going on? What's going on? In the morning, this is funny and embarrassing at the same time. In the in the morning, the guides told them that that they thought they heard my laugh and they thought I was doing a mating call. And I was calling the hyenas. So my whole tent, they said that like 15 hyenas were around my tent during the night. at that during that time. So I did not laugh anymore. But other than I mean the animals do walk around, which is also kind of cool. I imagine Amy Sharkman may be a little nervous, but you don't really know, you don't walk out in the tent. I mean, Brad, I remember when you left in the morning to go on the
Yeah,
hot air balloon.
yeah. The animals are out there, but you don't really, and you can you'll hear them, but they don't really bother you. I mean, what we were told is that the lions don't recognize humans as either predators or prey. They don't eat us, and we don't shoot at them or whatever. So they don't really have a fear of us, but they also don't see us as food. So when that's why when you're driving in a Jeep and you pull up to and there's lions right there, or cheetahs, or a leopard, or whatever, none of them really look at you and start licking their lips or whatever. They don't really recognize the smell of the human as like something that they're going to be eating, because they have no experience of eating humans. That's how it was explained to us. So the animals are all around, but
And
you
we
don't
heard
really feel like you're in danger.
we heard so there was a lion. I think was it having a kill that night that we heard it roaring so loud, or was it just roaring? I don't
Well, they
know,
were
but
speculating. Yeah, the
yeah,
Maasai warriors were speculating that maybe they were out hunting or whatever. But
we heard the roaring very loud.
yeah, but
Um,
you know it. I mean, you wouldn't. They're not really. They're out there, and that's why it's kind of cool. But at the same time, it's not like they're chomping at the bit to come into your tent. I mean, they don't really recognize the smell of humans as something that they would normally eat. So that's how it was explained to us.
and you when you walked up in the morning that morning, remember that
Yeah,
lion was right
yeah,
outside the door?
right. I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was not an issue. I mean, we went to it was fine. So
So, I see that Lisa Marcus just caught on. We're actually kind of ending, but can you hear me, Lisa? You're on mute if you are. I don't know if you're just listening or whatever. Um,
Was
but
there anything that you covered for the first 10 minutes before I got here that you could summarize or anything?
um, huh. I'll
I
have to
got
look
here.
at the
Yeah, I got here
recording.
just when Shelley was starting to sort of talk about her trip.
No, I think I was just kind of giving an overall of, what I wanted to get from this.
Okay.
But I'll look at I'm recording this because a few people couldn't make it and they asked me to record it. So I'll look, and if there is anything, I'll let you know. Do you have any questions, Josh?
No, it sounds great. It's all just, I think it'll just be, I'll look at my budget and figure out if I can do it. And it sounds pretty cool. Film some
It
videos
is
on
cool.
YouTube.
And I know it's an expensive trip. It is. And I just, because of that, I've talked to people and I've worked out, a very, I hope, generous installment plan for people if they need it. So that, if you need to pay beyond the trip or whatever, more happy that you're able to go and we can figure that part out.
Have you
So,
seen have you seen the movie A Real Pain?
no.
Yeah, I just saw it a couple weeks ago. I guess it'll be like an Oscar nomination. I think it was probably in the Golden Globes. Just about a mini trip to Auschwitz, like this little group of like six, I don't know, maybe 10 people, kind of like this. So now that's in my head because it's like the interactions and uh, it's Jesse Eisenberg and he goes with his crazy brother. No, it's his cousin, and his cousin's having kind of a meltdown, and there's all this drama, and I think his cousin goes and sleeps with one of the women, but it's like this Jewish group and everything.
Oh
So
yeah, it's just like this girl.
exactly.
Um,
Robin, can I ask you a quick question?
sure.
Just like logistically, because there's a lot of moving parts, like how are you moving? Like, are people bringing, like, what's the luggage situation and moving? Like, I know there's a lot of moving from place to place, and how is that facilitated, I guess?
So we have, I mean, I give you a packing list. Most people use kind of a wheel duffel bag kind of thing. But a regular suitcase, the wheels, on those grounds don't really work well. But when you're in an airport, you probably want it. So I try and find those suitcases with the heavy duty wheels that work. So I mean, we have, our guides and everyone will always, we do move around a fair amount. That, maybe I think in Tanzania, I think we're at one hotel 3 nights, and I think that's the most. There may be 4 nights. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4. I can't remember offhand. But yeah, so having the one bag where we ask people, but some people have more and it's fine. But we try and get everyone to keep it to like one large, bag. And then, you'll pack it. Usually what we just say is, leave it out in front of your door by the time we have to leave, and then someone will get it and get it onto the truck and stuff like that. I always have, with myself, I always have like a backpack that has and I encourage everyone to have like a day bag that always will have everything, with, and also, an extra layer if you need it or whatever. But to have a bag that you have everything with that's on the bus with you, because your big bag will be on top of the van or in the back. Sorry. So, does that answer your question? I know when we do fly from Arusha, when we're in the Serengeti. We take a very small plane, but they actually don't have any additional specifications for weight other than regular luggage, because they know that people are traveling. So it's a small plane, but we go from the Serengeti back to the airport in Arusha, and then we take an international flight to Kigali in Rwanda.
And what was the weather like when you went last time, this same time of year?
It was awesome. It was warm, but I don't remember it. A lot of people think Africa hot. This part is close to, the equator, and so it kind of stays the same all year. It never got ultra hot. I think I'm trying to remember. Arthur, do you remember? It was mostly in the 80s, right?
Yeah, it was around 80 every day and about 12 hours of sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was and we didn't, I don't think we had rain. I
No
can't
rain.
remember. Yeah. So it was really nice that time. And pretty much the same in Rwanda. It may be a bit hotter in Rwanda, but yeah, it was never really hot. I know people think Africa, August, oh my God. But it really wasn't. And also Rwanda's in the mountains, so it was hotter at some places, but then when you're hiking and everything, it's not. Good question. All right. Uh, I'm here if you need me. Anyone else? If not, I guess we will say goodbye, but I will encourage all of you who are thinking about it to, just talk to me, in the next few days, so that I can kind of, like I said, I have to talk to the woman and give her an idea of what's happening. So just so I can kind of have an idea if I should stall her, do what I can do. So, I think you all have my phone number on the emails or whatever, or just email me and we'll set up a time to talk. And thank you for coming, and Arthur and Brad Thank you for your input. And it's good to see you both too.
Great to see you.
All right, Wendy, good to see you again. Hopefully you can do Rwanda. I would love to have you back on a trip. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.